Welcome, foolish mortals, to Goofy Guys Spooky Stories. Best be warned, spookiness ahead. These be the Halloween spirits alive and well to tell you a story or two of a time of past and a bird that looks like a ghost that I knocked over. All right. Welcome, Goofballz, to our spooky Halloween version of GGA Viewer Stories. I am your host, your human host, or will we say ghost host? Behind the scenes is my goofy gal, but spookier than ever, Rebecca. Now I have a collection of ghostly tales and nights of paranormal activity to share with you all, and just downright tingling of the chills for each one of you. I hope you're ready for a deep dive into Halloween spookiness with GoofyGuysAdventures, Goofballz Stories. I want to thank each and every one of you before we start, as this is submitted by the viewers, and towards the end, we will have stories by me and some of the other goofballs. No further ado, I must start this spooky story with this spooktacular tablet that's not my usual tablet, so bear with me now. This story was submitted by GGA viewer Goofy23. You're lost in the woods and you don't know how you got there, and you know where home is. That is the end of that story for Goofy23. I mean, we could all relate. A nice warm-up to know being lost in the woods, darkness, maybe a full moon, ooh, a yell from a wolf in the woods you don't know. Maybe an owl, one of the creepiest predators in the woods. Yes, owls. Can't trust them at all. Speaking of owls, I know one of our viewers who likes to put them in the chat. Not asked, but given. That would be Kayani Roberts, who submitted a second story. One time when I was little, I would sleepwalk, and one time I guess I was having a bad dream, and it was to the point where I guess I ran out of the house we used to live. If we didn't have a gate door outside, I would have gone out in the streets on the block that we used to live. And my dad picked me up and then put me back into bed. You can hear my kitty cat spookily agreeing to that story. She says in additional comments, I know it's not a very spooky story, but I guess it's definitely a scary thing for parents to watch. Yes, I agree, parents out there, to see a child hopelessly abandoned due to their sleepwalking. Who knows what ghouls can be awaiting them? She also states, also thank you for making sure that we get a blast with the live streams and making it magical for some of us that can't go all the time or at all. Happy to give you an elegant experience with a little bit of ghostliness, Kayani. Speaking of ghostliness, I believe the paranormal spirits are awakening as we get further into the story. This story was submitted by GGA viewer Rez, as you may know. So my family and I went out fishing, and one evening we were catching after fish. We had been in the woods at an old cement bridge. The bridge we had been fishing at was known for spooky things to happen. But none of my family is superstitious. Just a little stitious, I'm kidding. We heard a couple of whoops and hollers from the distance. Ah! Ah! What was that? Now we thought nothing of it until large rocks, dot, 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 small boulders, splashed not too far away from where we had been fishing. Now at that time I didn't believe in Bigfoot, but after look at the area a large boulder had come from another and followed it, making it easy to see the large creature hiding in the long pines. I locked eyes. I locked and looked with the creature and knew this was not Bigfoot, but something different. It didn't look human. It had long limbs and what could only be described as a thing. The eyes were bloodshot, red, and after looking at this thing, I didn't feel safe at all. I reeled in my fishing pole and sat in the car to cry because I had never been so scared in my life. So yeah, there's my story from when I was younger. Additional comments from Rez. Don't go in the woods near dusk in the backwoods, which correlates to our first story, as you heard. So many woods tales. Dare you think of going into the woods for All Hallows Eve? Who knows what awaits you? Adventure, like Goofy Guys Adventures, or horror. Speaking of horror stories, another story submitted by Ruby, GGA viewer. True story, she states, but tried to write it like a campfire story. LOL, I'm still traumatized. Our city didn't have many shared scary stories. Every neighborhood has its own scary or haunted house, or even creepy neighbors we try our best to avoid. But there is a back road outside the city, a curve around the mountains, and between the fields that people who know the stories always try to avoid. I didn't know the stories, but I have always been a believer of the supernatural. And this was an experience that solidified my belief. I was out with a friend, thrift shopping and buying the seasonal Dunkin' drink, when we noticed time slipped away from us. The sun had set early, and we both had work the next day. That's just traumatizing in itself, sorry. That's a horrific story right there. So we decided to cancel our dinner plans. That's horrific in itself. They canceled their dinner plans? What? And just headed home. Google had told us. Who is Google? I don't know. Who is Google? Another spooky spirit? Had told us it was faster to make it through the back roads, so we did. Sidebar, you sure this wasn't Waze? I've heard many back road stories with Waze, but not Google. Interesting. The road was lonely. It was just us. I remember how dark it was because we were both scared and commenting about how we couldn't see much of anything. No headlights or streetlights anywhere near us. We blasted BTS, the K-pop group, and sang our fears away. Then we got to the curve in the long road and we knew all we had to do now. was drive straight, and we would be on the main street soon. The curve on the road was enveloped in trees, almost like a tunnel. And during the day it was beautiful, but late at night it felt off. We heard a scream. I thought it was my imagination, but then my friend lowered the volume, and we both looked at each other when we heard it again. It was a loud, piercing cry. Help! Ah! Help! That was a terrible rendition, all right. We couldn't see a thing outside these windows besides whatever the headlights were showing us in front, and we were not going to slow down. We're not going and slowing down. No cars were around us, but the scream followed us down the road. It still sounded so close to us, and we started to scream ourselves. How can the voice still sound so close if we are so far away from where we first heard it? For almost 2 miles, we kept hearing these awful screams, including our own screams, until we encountered our first street light. A deep breath. We were dreading it turning red, both of us yelling that we were not going to stop, but luckily it stayed green. The screaming stopped. We never did figure out what time was, but when we told people about it, some shared their own strange experiences on that road. As of right now, I believe we experienced a skinwalker, but that's just my theory. All notes aside, skinwalkers are flippin' scary. If you haven't looked up a story from the skinwalker, I encourage you, if you want a scary, not kid-friendly story, look up skinwalkers. It's related to the Native Americans or indigenous peoples that once were on this land. And call me crazy, but I believe in it 100%. So I will transition now. Thank you, Goofballz, that submitted stories. Thank you so much for sharing, you guys, as I'll transition a little bit in this. I picked up a couple of paranormal stories for you. Back to the spookiness. The stories you're about to hear are based on real events. They are accounts of ghost sightings in the town of Ishinomoki after the devastating tsunami in 2011 that resulted in 50,000 homes destroyed, 3,100 lives lost, and 2,800 individuals still reported missing. On a clear night, a woman was preparing a meal when she suddenly startled by a knocking at the door. She peeked through her window to see who it was and saw a woman who looked distressed and very wet. The woman immediately went to open the door, and the wet woman at the door asked for dry clothes. She quickly ran to her room, grabbed some clothes, gave them to the woman, to give to the woman, to find she had disappeared and was nowhere in sight. I don't know about you, but an unexpected knock can always scare you on the All Hallows Eve. Is it a trick-or-treater, or will the lady appear and disappear? Speaking of appearing and disappearing, another true story based off events in the same town. The The story takes place 164 days after the devastating tsunami. It was a hot day in August. A taxi driver was looking for someone to give a ride when he saw a man about 20 years old, dressed in black, wearing a coat. He thought it was interesting that the gentleman was wearing a coat in such hot weather and decided to take his request for a cab ride. The man got into the taxi and seemed unaffected by the weather. He was calm and collected, with no sweat or redness from the heat. Once the driver noticed this, he began to feel uneasy vibes and tried to start a conversation with the passenger, but all questions were answered with simple yes or no answers. The passenger had asked to be taken to a town about 30 miles out from the pickup location. And by the time they arrived, it was already nightfall. Once the driver looked down to unlock the doors to let the passenger out, he looked back and found the passenger had disappeared. The driver frantically jumped out of the car to look around for the passenger. But all he was left with was silence and no one to be found. Those paranormal stories are the end of our spooky stories from me and GGA viewer stories, but stick around, one more story to tell from Rebecca. Now I'm going to share something with you all. I know you may wonder, have you ever had a real ghost story? Because that's originally what we were asking for here on GoofyGuysAdventures. And I can say yes. I'm going to tell you, I've experienced on the Queen Mary. I'll definitely just get this one real quick. My cousin had a wedding on the Queen Mary. She's so lucky and blessed to have that. But I'll admit the ballroom is very old and ornate and really nice, but it just had creepy vibes to the whole boat. This is throughout the boat. People have talked about there's even a ghost hunting tour you could take, like in the actual cabins that are there too. But for me on that night, I saw weird things in the mirrors that were in that ballroom. And then also later on the night, me and my cousins decided to stray away on the boat, and we went to a cabin they were staying in on the boat, and we were just hanging out, and we heard footsteps in the hallway. Went to go check, and there was nobody there. So we kind of all were like, what the heck? We kind of were trying to play it off like we were being cool, but then at that same time we smelled cigar smoke, which I smelt it, but I don't know. Later on I talked to my cousin, they said they smelt the smoke too. So that's a fast, abbreviated stories of the Queen Mary, but my most spooky story actually comes from my hometown. My mom used to decorate as just a outside consultant decorator, and during Christmas, and one of the older courthouse buildings at Merced, the town where it comes from, used to have these Christmas trees put up as like a deck the halls style. Now this building, this courthouse, is like very old, like early 1900s old. So it's like older wood, 2-story. There's courthouses still laid out there from like the older times, and there's 2 floors to it. We were on the first floor decorating a tree in one of the rooms. And my mom stayed very late to do her tree because she wanted it to look good and wanted to stick out. So we were there helping her decorate, and there was nobody left. It was just us and me, my sister, and my mom inside of this courthouse. So we're there waiting, it's for my mom to finish, me and my sister, and we're kind of trying to just hang out. My mom's like, oh, I need your help for one more thing. So we're there putting up tinsel around the tree, just to take off one tinsel and put on another one. And as we're doing it, we hear footsteps. And I look, and I was like, what the heck? I looked at my sister. I said, did you hear that? My mom's like, no, stop it, guys. You're just playing around. You're just messing around. Stop it. And Irene looked at me kind of like, that was weird. So then we both were kind of like, whatever. Just our heads, right? So then after that, we were like, okay, moving around. We were stepped back for a little bit to go grab some more ornaments. About 2 to 5 minutes later, we hear again footsteps of children. We thought lighter footsteps, but they were louder and above us. We both looked at each other and were like, okay, you heard that, right? You heard that. And my mom didn't say anything. She just kind of kept decorating the tree. But she heard us say, you heard that? I heard that? My sister? So at that point, we were spooked. So at this point, me and my sister were definitely uncomfortable. And we felt that eerie feeling that you feel when you get like tingly senses in your back. And like, what was that about? Like, you kind of don't feel so easy about everything that's going on around you. So we went to go check in the hallway of the building that goes straight out to the doorway of the exit. And there's like a stairway down that goes to the lower floor level, but this is just all still the only first level of it. There's a basement of the building, which we don't have to get into. But anyway, there was nobody in the room. There was a security guard outside, and that's it. So at that point, we're just like, what the fill in the blank. So we're now 20 minutes forward, and my mom is still trying to get this tree to be perfect, but we're starting to look at it now. We all three of us look at it, and we're like, it's looking good. And she's like, do you think it looks good? She really wanted to impress. But we look at the tree, all three of us kind of stand back, and at that moment, we hear the running again, but this time, we heard it above us into the hall, and then we heard kids laughing. That was the point when we all looked at each other, grabbed our stuff, and just bolted out. And we asked the security guard on the way out, is there anybody else in there? And they said, no. You were the last ones. I'm going to lock the door now. So that is the most paranormal story I have from my hometown. And supposedly, I cannot confirm or deny what had happened at that courthouse. And it was used at times as a schoolhouse from what I understand. But I really believe that was my like real first paranormal experience, and I had 2 other people with me that were like, we all ran out. Never got that tree back either. We just left it, which is a crazy thing. So that is my most paranormal story, which deals with Christmas, so irony. But before we jump into the holiday spirit, it's time to waken us Halloween spirits. One more story brought to you by Rebecca. This is actually a suggestion from her. She heard this story from a podcast she listens to called Scare You to Sleep. The story was written by Sophie Delia Chara, called Different. The bed was too warm for her. The covers were too big, and she knew it. Her mother did too, but sometimes she got scared that her only child would catch a cold. These covers were too big for that girl's small, lanky body, and they were so heavy. She had been sick for years, but not sick. That's not what the school called it, or what her mother called it. They all called it being different. The girl presumed that being different had to do with voices she heard. The brashing, the tapping, the footsteps in the attic. They all had to be a part of it. The wind brushed softly against the window as Mother walked into the room, interrupting the girl's train of thought. "Hello, darling," said Mother as she opened the creaking door. The girl remained silent, peering through her window down at the front porch. "I just came to say good night. Do you need anything?" Mother muttered softly as she brushed the girl's hair with her fingers. After no response, Mother got up and began to leave. "I cannot sleep, Mother," the girl muttered before the door closed. "He will call me again, and he will walk in the attic. He wants to eat me, Mother. The monster will get me tonight. I just know it." She mumbled in silent panic, whispering as though if someone were listening to the conversation. I know. Don't worry, honey. You took the medicine, so the monster won't come today. Her mother interrupted swiftly. It'll be fine. Okay, good night, Connie. Mother smiled as she closed the door. The girl tried to sleep, but she knew what would happen. Although this was a new medicine for her, being different, and it was supposed to stop the monsters from coming. She had seen it before and had also talked to it. Although it never answered, the hours passed, and to the mother's surprise, the girl didn't come to retrieve her, to curl up in her bed afraid. The night went on, as the pale moonlight flooded the girl's blood-stained bed, where a giant shadowy creature feasted. That is the end of our GGA viewer stories. Before you go anywhere, we hope that you enjoyed it and got into the spooky spirit. But for now, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video for anyone who would like some spooky times in their lives. If you want some more spooky fun, I encourage you to go watch the Artistry Drop YouTube channel, where Corey interviews artists from the local Southern California area and across the nation. But specifically, Corey Rachel and I chat with the paranormal psychic medium, singer, and YouTube vlogger Kelsey Davies, who has over 2 million subscribers at this point. We will put the link in the description for you to check out. For the month of December, we're going to go a little lighter because it's time to bring the holiday spirit, and we would love to encourage that by doing something just like this Spooky Stories. We're going to do a holiday story version of this. It can be a Disney story, a non-Disney story. Tell us about a special gift you got during the holidays or a holiday memory you will always remember, whether it be special, funny, magical. We'd love to share your story. The link will be in the description, or you can visit our link tree and click on the holiday story form to submit your holiday story. Also, speaking of the holidays, New Year's Eve is right after that, and we really want to ring in the New Year's with the Goofballz. So with your help, we would like to do that. We have a Buy Me a Coffee page where we're starting our New Year's Eve campaign to buy tickets, because unfortunately our magic keys are blocked out during that period, and we would need to buy tickets, but it's a little bit costly, and we would like your support if possible. Any money donated there will go towards our New Year's Eve tickets. You can find the link in the description, or you can find it in our link tree. Shout out to Goofballz every donated so far. Susie Q, Usos Gooder Chris, Melissa, Goofy23, Charming Girl, Lori Ritter, and anonymous donors as well. Thank you for the support in Goofballz. Saying hi on the live stream. We always appreciate it when you guys say hi. And big shout out to the people behind supporting us, all of our members, Goofball Pro Max, Hot Cocoa Debate Team, and especially our sick-witted crew, Random Kiwi Adventures, Oh My Disney 55, Jonathan Hughes, Grim Actually, Charming Girl. We appreciate your guys' support. Until next time, keep it magical and stay spooky, Goofballs. Spooky kitty. It's like, please stop. Buttons, any questions? Questions? Sir.
Oh, look at that little face.
Thank you. And behind the scenes, why are you laughing? Edit it. Oh, shit. Okay, I gotta go back. Like the smoke coming in right now feels very off. Yeah? We heard a scream. I thought it was my imagination. You see that? my Snoop Dogg up in here. So, this is how they feel on like. That's it.
I'm so sorry. Did you even like remember when you left?
Oh, this is definitely became. You need to turn the fan on. No. Open the windows. Oh my God. Jesus. Or maybe it was paranormal.
Or maybe like I cut it off from maybe a story or something.
You know what's paranormal? This computer keeps shutting off on me. Like a California special right here. It's green light.
Wow.
I'm over here with a broom, trying to fan the smoke away from the smoke detector. For more spooky fun, you can check out our video we're featured in, Artistry Job by Corey, but. Are you still filming? What the? Is it because Buttons didn't make the shot? I thought you made it earlier.
I did earlier. Just showing you here now.
Oh, spooky kitty.
Yeah, you see.
Spooky kitty. Old man, old man. Ugh! Things already broken, Buttons. Great.
Hey! Psst. Not in front of it. Thank you. Get away!
You heard it, bro.
It's just fog.
Buttons. It's just fog, bro. Bruh, 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 bruh. He is gonna throw up everywhere.
Yeah, he is.
Welcome to Goofy.
It's gonna be a long one.
Welcome.
You okay there?
Yeah, I'm worried.
What?
I know, you said how long they're gonna last.
Wakanda not forever.
Wakanda not forever.